Hi guys, and welcome to a brand new video. I do apologise, this one is running late. As some of you may be aware, had a few family problems, issues towards the start of this month, so that's the reason this video is a little bit delayed, but I'm doing it today on a very cold November day, hence why I've got the woolly hat on. So I'm just going to explain a recent sort of essential upgrade, quality of life upgrade that I've done to the ped, and then obviously for those who are new to the channel and haven't seen the other videos, I'll quickly run through the other parts that I've done to the ped since owning it in August, to bring you guys up to speed, and obviously to let you know what is potentially coming after this video in regards to any other updates slash upgrades that will be put onto the ped. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the upgrades that we're going to go through, I'll start off with the ones that have been done, just to obviously catch everyone else up who isn't familiar with the channel or is only seeing this as their first video in regards to the rarest ped in the UK. So when I bought the ped back in August, we did not have side mirrors, so I was able to find the OEM side mirrors for the ped. So we've got a left and a right hand one. So those were the very first things I've done to the ped. Don't necessarily need them, because with peds you don't, like, side mirrors aren't sort of legal, like you don't have to have them. It's just a sort of safety thing. Me personally, I wanted them just because it completed the look of the bike, and again just for the fact that it's safety. So that's the reason why I went with the side mirrors, put them back on. I say brand new as well, OEM parts. And then we moved down to this section of the ped, just hiding behind this scratched up air box here. We replaced the air filter, or according to the owner's manual for this ped, which is of course the legendary X8R-X, they call it an air cleaner. So air filter, air cleaner, pretty much the same thing. So we replaced that. It did have a black foam filter, so couldn't really tell whether it was dirty or clogged up. However, when I did ride it with the old air cleaner in, you could hear it was struggling to draw air in. So we replaced it, got a blue foam filter for it, which came pre-oiled as well, because you have to sort of pre-oil them before installing. And since then we've had no issues. It's drawing air in absolutely fine. Now I didn't pick blue just because of the fact that blue would be easier to see any dirt and build up on it, to sort of give a better indication if the air filter gets clogged up. It was just the one that unfortunately was sent to me, but it's an OEM part, but it's made by Melosi, or Melosi. I don't know how you pronounce that well, but I'll put on the screen the sort of the text of what I'm trying to say there. So we replaced that part, very cheap part as well. So we've done that to sort of make sure that, like, the quality of life of the engine runs. I know it's only a very small thing, but it was an essential thing to do, so we did that. Now moving across to the front of the ped, but not for what you think it's going to be yet, because I'm doing these in order of what I've had done on the ped. So this little object down here, the Speedo drive hub. Now originally when I bought the ped, the owner, well, the previous owner told me that it was this cable here, the Speedo drive cable, that was damaged. So I bought a new one, bought the longest one I could find. Turned out the speed cable is absolutely fine. The Speedo cable is absolutely fine, there's no problems. Shout out to my mate Wayne, who helped me sort of check it over and obviously install this little hub down here. It was only when we realized that the actual cable was fine, we found out that the Speedo drive hub, the original hub, was absolutely shot to pieces, which meant that I was not getting a speedo reading, nor was I getting a mileage clock reading. Well, obviously it had like a mileage on there, but it wasn't counting up of from when I was riding it. So we bought a new one. This one only came in at like £6. It's an OEM part as well, only just sort of a different orientation in regards to the installation of the cable compared to the previous one. And since we put it on, we're getting a speedo reading. Reads around 10 mile an hour out, but I do ride with my phone on a phone stand with a GPS speedo, so I'm getting my sort of true speed up, so I can sort of average out. It works out to around sort of 10 mile an hour out that the speedo is showing. So if I'm doing 40 miles an hour on the speedo indicated by the bike, I'm actually doing 30, which is indicated by the GPS speedo. So that's how I'm sort of riding it at the moment. But yeah, so cheap, easy fix. But I say shout out to my mate Wayne for helping me with that issue. Now we come across, as my Ring video doorbell goes up because someone decides to walk in front of it, but that is to be expected. Now we come to not so much this side, but we come back round to this side and mainly into the gubbins here. Pretty much this little component here, the carburetor. Now this hasn't been changed, however I had a good mate of mine, a friend of the channel as well, Jack, big shout out to Jack, who helped me to take a look at the carburetor, because I had a feeling the carburetor was a bit sort of gunked up or may have needed a clean. So I took it to him, we took it apart, had a look. Turned out carburetor was absolutely fine, but however we found out that the pilot screw was full of gunk, so we gave that a good blast out with some carburetor cleaner, and since then we've had no issues. Obviously with now the weather being colder, we've had to obviously adjust the air fuel ratio to obviously get it to work during the winter months, because carburetor engines really do not like the cold, and you definitely have to give them a good sort of two to 5 minutes to warm up, which is what I've been doing, and so far we've had no problems. So obviously not a replacement part, but however we have had it sort of generally, we've had the carburetor serviced to make sure that that is running as it should be. So we've done that, but before we had that done, obviously when I bought the ped, it did not have this top box on here, and with it being a 24-year-old ped, obviously storage was at a very sort of premium. Usually peds like this are obviously going to be used by people going to college or going to work, not really going to be used for day-to-day, like going down to the shops and getting groceries and all that kind of stuff. So space is going to be at a premium. However, I was able to find the OEM top box for it, because I didn't want to buy an aftermarket one. I wanted to make sure I was getting the genuine parts. So yes, it did cost a little bit more. So cost £91 in total for the top box and the support bracket it sits on, and it's only a 26 litre box, so doesn't give me much more space. However, it's handy for what I need to obviously put my work pieces in, and if I do go out and do the general shop for grocery bits like milk, bread, you name it, it will easily all fit in there, no problems. And then obviously the underseat storage is then primarily used for any sort of bike bits in case of a breakdown whilst out on the road. So I have some screwdrivers, some WD-40 and all that kind of stuff, like multi-tools and all that, sat underneath the seat, so just in case of an unexpected breakdown whilst out on the road, I can obviously access some tools and try and sort of self-diagnose or try and sort of self-rectify the issue without having to call for breakdown cover. So we've done that, and then of course the big sort of essential upgrade that we've done is of course the tyres. Now the tyres it originally came with were slightly knobbly tyres, because this bike in particular, the X8R-X, it has a twin, which is the X8RS. Now they look completely identical in every way, shape and form. The only way you can tell the difference is with the S version, its front mudguard sits lower down compared to what I have here on the X, which is a little bit more raised up. So the X8R-X was considered more of a sort of crossover style ped, so you could use it for off-road as well as on-road. Me, I tend to use it mainly for on-road, obviously currently sort of off the road at the moment because we're on a sort of gravel car park, as you can see, and absolutely full of potholes when my camera wants to move back round. So you see it's just absolutely full of potholes. But it's the only place I could really sort of do this video without sort of getting in the way of people. So yeah, we've done the tyres. This is the sort of main part of the video in regards to the upgrades that I was going to talk about. So we have some 12-inch B-Connects on the front and the rear. Came to £140, so it works out to around £60 per tyre. Shout out to Treads in South Lowestoft for the service they provided in fitting both the front and the rear tyres. I'm not sponsored by them, but if you are looking to get your tyres changed and you're within the Lowestoft area, I highly recommend Treads. Very friendly, very professional, and gave me probably the best quote out of everyone else that I was able to email in regards to getting tyre changes. So we got them done because with the tyres that were on the ped before these new ones were installed, they will show some dry rot. The rear tyre was very close to the legal limit. The front was okay, still had loads of tread on it, but obviously the dry rot was obviously a big concern. And with the fact we're going to winter, so the roads are going to be wetter, they're going to be a lot more slippery. Last thing I want is tyres that are going on me, losing that grip, and then yeah, last thing I want is a crash. I've not had a crash on the ped yet, so I don't want to start now. So got some new tyres on, and that should hopefully get us through for a little while, and then obviously we will get them changed when the time comes to changing them, but they should be fine for a good little while. And in regards to future upgrades for what needs to be done, as you can see, one evident is the seat. Now this isn't a big concern, it's definitely not on the priority list for needing to be done as soon as possible. As you can see, I've got some grey tape, gaffer tape, whatever you want to call it, covering a small rip in the cover of the seat. It's going to be cheaper to actually order a brand new seat compared to having that rip repaired. So at some point in 2026, it may not be right towards the beginning, possibly towards the end. We'll get a new seat unit, which will take this one off, and then we'll replace it with the brand new one. Because with this one, if I sort of come in a bit closer, you can probably see there's a few little cracks in the cover here and there. Let's say obviously got the rip under the tape here, but other than that, it's still usable. So it's not, you know, it's not a game breaker, and it's not something that's going to prevent me from using the ped in the long run. So that is on the list to do, but not a priority concern. However, one that is a priority concern that will be getting done is, of course, the exhaust. Now, as you can see, it is in quite a bad way. It was like this when I bought the ped. It's a Technogas exhaust. It's a performance exhaust, it's not the stock exhaust. The plan is to actually change this with a new performance exhaust. I may go with Technogas, I'm not too sure. I may go with Giuliani. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I'll pop it on the screen so you know what I'm talking about, sort of with the correct spelling, so you know what I'm on about, as I said. So the plan is to sort of replace it with one of those. I've got a few different models in mind of the Giuliani exhaust that I know will fit the ped. I'm just sort of debating on which one to actually go for, because during the summer, well, I say during the summer, sort of like during the late summer, so again like August, sort of early September, this was absolutely fine. However, once we got to the colder months and I was starting to notice that there was some smoke, and it wasn't smoke in a bad way, but it was obviously like the exhaust gases more so. They were coming out. You can just see there where the first weld point is, where the exhaust comes from the back of the engine there, and then it comes round, tucks underneath, the fan, and comes round to the expansion chamber just under here. And I was noticing there was some smoke coming out of there, so you can't see it from this side, but I suspect on the other side there's a very small corrosion hole, which is obviously letting some of the exhaust gases come out, which probably explains why it looks so greasy and dirty on the underside of the sort of seat storage there. So that's what I expect, is that some exhaust gases are coming out of there, which causes the bike to bog down on the sort of like the first run of the day. So this is one of the reasons why I'm getting this change. Again, obviously with the corrosion and stuff, obviously there's, how can I put it, the exhaust doesn't have much doesn't have much life left in this world, so we are going to get it done. There is a little sort of gap around the seal point up here where some exhaust gas comes out of as well, as I've noticed when we're sort of starting out first thing, and same for sort of down here just before it comes out of the little spout muffler there. There is like a little gap where some gases escape out of as well. So that probably explains the bogging down issue with the PED to begin with. But obviously once the engine's up to temperature and once we're sort of got going, it isn't a problem. But it's just mainly in the mornings, trying to get it started up, that's causing a few little niggles. But it should be fine once we've dealt with that problem. And then on to future upgrades, the sort of future, I guess you could say, sort of necessary works. Obviously the brakes will be getting done, if not by the end of the year. The front and rear brakes will be getting done possibly early 2026 before its MOT, which is due in February. But failing that, I will probably have it done when I take it for its MOT and be like, can you do the brakes and get them done once it's sort of, well, after it's had its MOT or something like that, just get it all cracked out. I was going to chuck it in for a service again. Obviously with the family emergency that came up, it's kiboshed quite a few things and pushed a few things back, hence this video being pushed back. But I am going to get it in for a service hopefully before the MOT, to sort of just get a list of anything that needs work doing, and then anything that needs work I'm going to sort of set out a priority list and be right, okay, so this is priority number 1, 2, vice versa, so you know exactly, well, so I know what is the main thing that needs doing. However, on Sunday, now this is one that I've sort of friends of the channel know about, and obviously close friends of mine know about because I've spoken to them about it. We are going to get not that one, this one, this brake reservoir looked at. Obviously front one, the rear one is absolutely fine. Obviously the screws are absolutely fine. I can access this and top it up with brake fluid, that's fine, and that's for the rear. However, I cannot access this cover. So this is for the front brake. As you can see, just going a little bit closer, you can see that the screws are absolutely shot to pieces. Now they were like that when I bought the PED. I did have my mate Jack attempt to try and get into them as well. When he was looking at the carburetor, he couldn't get into it. However, my father-in-law is going to take a look at it on Sunday, because he's a trained mechanic and he knows a few tricks, because he's come across some sort of stuck screws before in regards to brake reservoir caps for mopeds and for cars as well. So he knows a few little tricks to hopefully get it off, because ideally I want to try and keep the original brake reservoir on this PED. I don't want to be putting an aftermarket piece on, because I want to try and keep the bike in as original a condition as I possibly can. So the plan is to hopefully get these old screws out, replace them with some new ones, replace screws with some new ones, but hopefully get the cap off so we can access the reservoir, get the brake fluid into it, and then obviously get the cap back on it so it's absolutely fine. Should the worst come to the worst, if I have to get a yeah, if I have to go and get an aftermarket part for the brake reservoir, then I will do so. Obviously it will sort of ruin the aesthetic of the bike, but if there's no other option, then that's what we'll do. But ideally I want to try and keep the original unit itself. So hopefully my father-in-law can access the brake reservoir and try and get that off. So that's going to be done. As I mentioned, brakes are going to be done. Also, whilst we're doing the brake reservoir on Sunday, whilst my father-in-law's going to look at the brake reservoir on Sunday, the plan is to hopefully change the spark plug, because I have some spark plugs at home. I just don't have the right sort of tool heads to be able to access it. I've got one spark plug piece. However, my spark plug that these PEDs use is about 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters too big for the spark plug bit that I have, so I need to get some other bits, but my father-in-law's got all the tools anyway. So hopefully we can get that done, so we can get a new spark plug in whilst we're sorting out the brake reservoir, and then hopefully that'll increase the quality of life of this PED for another well, at least for a little while, until it then needs something else major done to it. But hopefully once the exhaust is done, new spark plugs in, new brake pads are on, hopefully it won't need a major quality of life upgrade done to it for a little while. That's the plan. And now it's getting quite busy in this car park, so I think we'll wrap it up there, guys. So there we have it, folks. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's quite a sort of quick one, and me mainly sort of blabbering on about, you know, what we're going to do. I know most of you have heard that before when you watched the previous videos. Again, that's just mainly one just for new viewers to obviously catch up, so everyone's on the same level playing field in regards to what's happening with the rarest PED in the UK. If you did like it, obviously be sure to leave a like, be sure to subscribe if you are new, and obviously hit the notification so you get notified when the new video drops. I do want to again apologise that there's videos coming out sort of 2 to 3 weeks behind schedule, but unfortunately things happen, and yeah, there's sort of no control behind it. But hopefully you won't have too much longer to wait in regards to other videos. In regards to PED videos, there may not be another PED video until maybe the new year. I might try and do one in December if there's sort of something worthwhile to do. But yeah, but in regards to PED videos, may not be another one to the new year. But I do have some plans in 2026 in regards to the PED, and hopefully some interesting adventures, let's just put it that way. But I want to try and get some of the obviously major sort of bugs and glitches, I guess you can call it, fixed on the PED to get it working in as best condition as I can, so that it's up for these adventures. But anyway, guys, thank you very much, and I will see you all next time.